A very good evening to you all. This is Ryan from Follow Everton, and we're going to be talking about Everton's released and retained list, of which to help me do so, I have the one and only Dave Wezzo Weston. Hi, Dave. How are you doing?
Oh, all right, right. Less stressed.
It's a shame actually that weekends are better when Everton don't play. I really hope that over the next couple of weeks and beyond, Everton can get some signings in fairly early to relax some nerves and allow us to just kind of think about the season ahead positively. But I suppose we've seen some news today, and it relates to the players who are leaving the club and who are staying. So I'm going to be asking you about them. Just very quickly to those in the comments, thank you. I know we haven't put much content out over the season finishing over the last 2 weeks, but we did need a break. It was exhausting putting out the content, obviously, in such acrimonious circumstances week in, week out. So we are going to be ramping things up now, moving onwards. Good evening to Emma, Eugene, David, TJ Mid, Richo, and those who are just joining. And if you're watching back, thank you for doing so. So obviously we knew about a few of the players that were leaving already. Yerry Mina being one of them, Wes. And for me, that was a player I would have liked to have kept had the right contract been on the table, because I do think he is superior to the other defenders we've got. Unfortunately, it turns out he's just a bit too expensive, and it looks like he's joining Besiktas in Turkey. That was a team that we're linked with. It's annoying, though, really, that we aren't getting a fee for someone like that. But you think his wages really limit the pool of, clubs that could take him, given the circumstances?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence with Mina because let's be honest, we never got our value for money out of him. And with his injury record, it's like, do you carry on paying 100 grand a week to somebody who might only play 10 games a season? But
Mm.
yeah, you are right. He was our best defender at the club, and we looked a lot more solid when he played. But I'm just hoping that he's got something in the pipeline. Obviously, Brandtwaite's back. Whether he's good enough now to be playing regular in the Premier League after his little loan spell away in the Dutch league, who knows? But they're quite keen to take him. It's just, I think the fee is putting them off, and the fact that Van Nistelrooy left. So yeah, it's all kind of up in the air for him at the moment. But who knows? He might get his chance at Everton.
I personally, I don't think Brands has done enough last season to give us a lot of trust as a fan base in what he does. But I think he will get the benefit of the doubt, and and improving us wrong, or improving him that he is capable, would be making sure that the likes of Mason Holgate and Michael Keane are moved on. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but both of those players need fresh starts. And Everton then need to either determine whether Jared Brandthwaite is going to be one of the centre backs. One of, I'd say you need five central defenders. Four minimum would be okay. But if we are occasionally going to play a five at the back, I think you need five, or at least someone who can slot in. Whether that could be Seamus potentially at right-sided centre back in a three. But we need four good centre backs, and I think at the moment we've got James Tarkowski. I think is going to be potentially a shoe-in for starting, or at least in a lot of the games. And then you've got Ben Godfrey. For me, he's not good enough. I don't understand what his position is. He doesn't look good at fullback, and he doesn't look good at centre half. And then you've got Keane and Holgate, and neither of them are any good. So we need a centre half. Whether Branthwaite comes back and is one of them, that's fine. But I think we need a real starting centre back. Now we've lost Yerry Mina. Just looking at the comments, just trying to stick to the Mina thing for now. Xavi says that he thinks Mina was ready to go. He had his heart set on a move. Fair enough. Okay, so moving. Let's hope that Everton can get some business in, and the centre half is one of them soon to replace Yerry, and that Branthwaite does turn out to be the player he is. But in terms of incomings and outgoings, we'll get to that. Let's fix back onto this retained list. So the big one for me, well, okay, let's build to it. I feel Andros Townsend, he's leaving the club. He's had over a year out with injury.
Yeah, it's a bit baffling, that one, isn't it? Like, they could have terminated his contract, and it could have been a heartless thing to do, but with his injury and all that. But why pay him all that money every week to be injured and then release him? I don't understand the politics of it, to be honest, right?
I'd like to think that with Townsend, we were insured as a club for his salary. You know, obviously, look, he was a good player for us for about 6-7 months. He's had that really serious injury, and there was, it was always going to be a long shot in coming back, and certainly coming back to any level. And it looks like the club have taken a decision on him that it's not worth the risk. I personally think that he should, if he's going to continue playing, he should drop down to the Championship and have a good couple of seasons at Championship level and be one of the better players in that division. I think he was good for us. He chipped in, I think, 6 or 7 goals, a couple of assists. He was a loss last season because I think he's got more composure and more delivery on the wings than some of the other wingers we've got who are a bit hit and miss. But I think Wes, all in all, it was probably for the best to let him go and go in a different direction in terms of wide players for this season. You'd think, though, that means we do have some money in that area to spend if we're letting Townsend go.
Yeah, is it, Iwobi's got to make a decision on whether he's going to sign a new contract or what have you. So I'd imagine that somewhere along the line, there's been some guarantees from him towards the club that he might possibly sign a new contract for them to let Andros Townsend go.
Mm.
But we need to get better quality, and simple as that. You know what I mean? We don't know how much money. I read somewhere along the line that with the Anthony Gordon transfer to Newcastle, we had something like 46 million that we could spend. Now, I was told that today, but that's not really going to get you much. You have an imposter.
Yeah, I had a couple there. I was just trying to keep composure, and Jazz just walking through the door going, hello. So I had to mute. I didn't see. Where were we? Sorry.
Yeah, just this thing with, from what I've read, we have 46 million to spend because of the Anthony Gordon transfer, but that's not going to get you much in the way of quality.
No, but is that 6 million what we have to spend outlay in this summer? So we could say, okay, well, we'll give you 15 up front, and we can pay 50 million. I know
on
this.
Klarna.
Yeah, is 46 million what we've got in this window to actually outlay. And I think we can recuperate a little bit more money because there are players I think we do need to move on there.
Yeah.
So on the Townsend one, then, just Wes, would you say that it was the right decision all round there? Probably for the best.
I mean, the ultimate thing is down to whether he was going to be the player that he was when he first came to the club. And yet, you're right, he scored a few goals when he first came to the club, along with Damari Gray. But then, obviously, got his injury. So, is he going to be an injury risk where, once your ACL goes, you're not going to be the same player, are you? You're always going to be worried about that.
Are the players that mostly come back, they don't do well.
Not as effective.
Hang on 1 second. You're alive and I'm not muted. I thought I'll do the stream down here, comfy on the couch while she's out, and then she comes in about 20 minutes later. No, thank you. I'm currently live to a world-renowned audience. Can we on then from Townsend? I mean, we wish him all the best, of course, but yeah, he's very well to earn some money for himself and do nothing for 12 months.
No, I think ultimately it's the right decision. we need to have some structure to the club. We can't keep, like I said, I don't understand the situation where they kept them at the club and paid them for that long, and then released them. And then what?
We had no choice.
Well,
You've got the contract.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
What the Blues?
I get that, but I say I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the whole politics of it. I understand what he's saying, but like, there's been cases in the past where both parties have agreed to terminate contracts.
Well, yeah, the idea was very quickly to just the idea was that he was going to come back from his contract and play, but he had a few setbacks. So I think that's what's happened there. With the others that have been released, then let's move on to Asmir Begovic. I mean, this is one we offered a new contract to, Wes. I mean, he's
down.
A backup goalkeeper. I think he's done. I can't do a live stream with my partner chipping in. Sorry.
The cat keeps photobombing you as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to concentrate on my points. Where was I? I think the Begovic one, he was a backup keeper. He was okay when he came in. I remember a good game against Newcastle at home, where we won last season. Not last season, the season before that. I mean, they all kind of blend into one. They're both as bad as each other. But he was, I remember him away at Arsenal. I think we lost 4-0 as well, and he didn't move for any of the goals. So there's been a couple of poor games from him, but in the main, he's been a solid number 2, hasn't he, Wes?
Yeah, 100%. It's a bit of a baffling one that, like, for them to keep Lonergan now. I've just been reading something there that he's, renewed Lonergan's, even though he's 39, he's renewed his contract because he's good in the dressing room, and he's, the players around like him around the place.
Well, they like Cody.
Yeah, but this is another thing that, I think we spoke about it the last stream we had, and it's like 4.5 million, not a lot of money in this day and age for a player. But I don't know whether, like, I heard Forest are after him, possibly Sheffield United, and the fee might be reduced. So I don't know whether he might go back to the club and say,
Who are we
"Look,
talking about here now?
Cody."
Oh, okay.
Right. So what will, like, annoy me more than anything, right, is if they do keep Holgate and Keane for another season, and they don't sell either one of them on, and cover the cost of keeping Cody, then, getting rid of Cody does not make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna talk about a summary at the end of it of what I want to see in this transfer window. But we'll come back to that, Wes. Just on the topic of Begovic, we did offer him terms, another contract, because I think the last thing we want to do is have unnecessary transfers at this point in time. We don't want to be having to allocate whatever small budget we've got on backup goalkeepers and things like that. So I think we'll look in the free transfer market for someone to come in, do a job for a season or two again. I think Begovic has done his time. I think you come to Everton and be a backup keeper to earn decent money and do nothing in the main, and might play 2 games a year. But it looks like he wants to go and just have one final punt, maybe fight with Luke. Yeah, that's the one. Possibly with Luton Town. I did read that today on social media, and I believe one of our viewers had posted earlier. I can't see the comment, but thank you for reminding me. So Begovic has turned us down. I can see him going to Luton or somewhere and just offering. That's Kenny Sale. Thanks, Ken. Going to Luton. So I can see him going there and having a decent season there.
You can't knock the lad if he wants to be a first choice goalkeeper.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
first choice, then that's fine. But I think if he's going just to sit on someone else's bench,
Pointless.
yeah, he would be better off staying. So we wish Asmir good luck, and that's another one. And then that moves us on to are there any others who have confirmed to leave, Wes, or have I missed someone out?
Well, we know Isaac Price is going, isn't he?
Yeah, standard behaviour.
Which is like kind of annoying because great things are being said about him. He's only a young lad. But it's like them in a struggling team, them young kids are not going to be trusted enough to get a game. The likes of your Tom Cannons and your Stanley Mills, Isaac Prices. When the team's struggling, the manager reverts to who he trusts to drag him out there, brown and smelly. You know what I mean? And he obviously.
I'm gonna bring in someone from America.
Oh, is it the big fella?
Boss, that's
what is, lad?
What's up, everyone?
Where are you?
I'm currently driving through Virginia on the way to a city where a lot of Evertonians overseas will know because they visited last season. I'm headed to Baltimore tonight.
Good morning, Baltimore. You're spending most of that time in the car. You're not exhausted.
I'm a new level of exhausted that few people can ever understand, but we're pushing through and trying to get through. We just hit the halfway mark. Yesterday was part 15 of 30. So
is that the Royal Way?
What's that?
Is that the Royal Way?
I don't know what that means.
David,
oh, yeah. No, I don't know why I do that. Like, I was taught from a young age, if you're part of a team, you never say I, it's always we. And so I brought that with me because sometimes I do view it as we, as in, everybody that's giving support, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, whatever. So yeah, it's all we, the royal we.
Where's the dog?
He's so anytime I travel for more than a week or two, I always drive the dog to Nashville. That's where his foster mom lives, and I trust her with him, and she'll watch him she watches him for free, but I end up finding ways to pay her anyway, just because I won't accept that amount of time for free. But I do that every time I go overseas as well. So she's an absolute saint of a person.
That's good. How many more have you got to go and visit now? How many more stadiums?
So we're 15 of 30 down, so 15 more, and then that'll be that. I've got another event down south, and then we plan the next adventure because I don't know. I contemplated doing the MLS and doing all of those stadiums over here, but now that Messi's coming to Miami, the prices have skyrocketed, so I'm not sure if I'm doing that or not. We'll see.
And have you been recording everything that you needed to do?
Yeah, the full vlogs aren't going to come out for a couple of weeks because I want to be back home and give it the proper amount of hours because it's going to take a lot of time. But I have, this is always in the glove box, ready to go. And there are countless hours of footage that I have on my laptop. Probably, I'd say maybe like 2 or 3 hours, or probably about 2 hours from each park that I'll whittle down to maybe 10 or 12 minutes. And I really think the vlogs and the content that comes out of this is going to be legendary. And it's only a preview because, as I said, we're coming to the UK next year and we're doing all of that stuff too. So I can't wait for that.
We're coming to the UK. Well, we're going to the toilet now to do a wee.
That's exciting.
A royal wee.
That's a new way. See,
yeah.
I guess there's multiple uses for wee, as the same way that you guys use, there's 5 meanings of the word tea. So,
Dominic,
I just have to pay attention. Anyway, whatever. Enough about me. Well, how's this discussion been? Have you guys talked enough about Tom Davies, or do we want to talk more?
We haven't got there yet. We haven't crossed that elephant in the room yet.
Okay. We were saving that to last. Chris, can I just very briefly ask you before we let you go about some of the players we've just talked about and get your thoughts on them? So there's Lonergan has been offered a new contract at Everton. Also, well, we haven't done Seamus or Tom Davies. So if I could ask you, should we hand that over to Chris, Wes?
Go on.
Go on then. Chris, what are your thoughts on Tom Davies and Seamus Coleman being offered new contracts?
I would be interested to see the length and wages and things of that nature, because obviously that's going to factor into a little bit of thoughts. Personally, I don't understand, and please take this with the utmost respect. I don't dislike Tom Davies as a human being. I think it's great that he's a local lad, etc., etc. I wish that he was a better footballer than he is. The fact of the matter is he's not. I don't understand the point of offering him a new contract to not play, because my thoughts are, you have to, at a certain point, think that he must be in a way part of Dyche's plans if he's offered a new contract. And then you start to ask yourself, if he is part of Dyche's plans, what are our actual plans? Because Tom Davies doesn't belong in the Premier League. I'm sorry. That's my personal opinion. Seamus Coleman, consummate professional, consummate leader, was one of our best players this season. I know he's up in age, but I've got no problem with offering him a contract, because those wages will be right, because Seamus is going to do whatever's best for the club. My only guess is that Tom Davies' wages must be very low. I can't imagine them paying him a lot of money, but those are my initial thoughts. I want him to succeed because he's wearing a blue shirt. If he ever comes on the pitch, I'm never going to boo him. I'm not that guy. I'm always going to hope that he finds a way. Much like all of this season, I hoped that Neil Maupay would find a way. I tried to defend Maupay all season, and I still would if he was, if it was a match day and he was coming on. But I don't understand that one. What are your thoughts?
I agree with everything you've just said, Chris. Apart from the fact that his wages must be incredibly low, because he could go to the Championship team and probably earn more wages and play every week. Why is he clinging on to something that doesn't exist? He's never going to be a first team regular. He could go to a Championship team and play every week.
What championship team would pay him higher wages?
I think someone would put on him at around 25, 30k a week, and he could be a good player. I know someone who knows Tom Davies personally. I'm not going to go too much into it, and he knows he's not loved by everyone. Davies, he knows he's not loved, and he knows that some people like him, but most don't. He sees himself as a number 10, really, and he's not really going to be a number 10 at Premier League level. He's the sort of player that he under the right coach, maybe in time he could do something. But I think it's for the best for everyone now if he moves on. I really strongly believe that it's pointless being at Everton. Yeah, he might be really settled. He might be on low wages, say 15, 20k a week. He might not really have any ambition to live outside of Liverpool, maybe because of family reasons or whatever. And he's happy to play 8 to 10 or games a season as a backup sort of last resort player or chipping in off the bench. But he's had a lot of injuries as well. And I think for him now, probably, if he's got any idea on a career, he should move on and go and play football, really. But I think if he's looking at the bigger picture and thinking, I just want to be at Everton, maybe that contract.
That's it. That's 100%. Right, is that if he wants to have a career in football and play regularly, he doesn't want to be at Everton.
No. Well, the Blues are saying who else should play the role of sixth, seventh choice midfielder. I suppose if he is on low wages and we're not got the money to start signing a lot of players, because we're about to talk about what we need in the summer. Maybe it makes some sense, but I think a lot of fans are going to be quite frustrated that he's been offered a new deal. And I'd have question marks over if Holgate and Keane was contracts were running out at the end of the season, whether they'd end up getting new deals. Because we're handing them out like... we can't give Cody and Mina new deals, but we can give them to Seamus and ask questions. Well, on the Seamus one, I think for me that shows that he's, we're putting our faith in him as a backup, right back next season, and putting next bit, and that isn't a problem area. I'm not.
You're breaking up a bit there, right?
Should be. I've got 500 megabytes per second internet.
It's breaking up a little bit.
Sound like Jeff?
You're going to have to pay £32 a month for 500 megabytes per second.
It's not now. It's when your voice went a little octave higher. It's all right.
I was just saying on Seamus, I think that if Seamus Coleman's going to be backup right back and Patterson's first choice next season, and that's the plan, then that's fine. I accept that. But I'm not convinced that either of them are really that good. And we don't know yet really if Patterson's going to be that top level right back. But I think to me that shows that we're prioritising other areas of the pitch and that we're not going to go out and spend 20 mil on a right back next season when we desperately need a left back. We desperately need a creative winger, and we need at least 2 strikers and probably a centre half.
Let's be honest, Seamus has probably got a job for life at Everton, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we haven't really got. I don't think he's really got to worry about what he's going to do when he retires. He'll have a job somewhere along the line at Everton. But yeah, we need a left back. We need a goal scorer. I think we need a creative midfielder. But like you say, we haven't got the money to go out and pay for them, have we?
Right, and that's obviously going to be the mega hindrance in terms of that. And it's almost like I don't know what to expect this summer because I don't know how much money we actually have. There's so many conflicting stories on what we'll actually be able to do. And so it's almost like a torturous time because, I mean, you're waiting for them to do something, but you don't know what the situation actually is. So it's almost like if something happens, it's a bonus because it's something we didn't expect. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. It's kind of like expect the unexpected with Everton, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm scared for the worst in terms of summer just comes and goes and all of a sudden and nothing happens and then everybody wants to avoid the situation that we've been in, but it's a real possibility.
We've still got Bill Kenwright and we've still got all those cronies still in charge. And not to sound too cynical, but I do strongly feel at the moment that it's unlikely that there'll be much of a plan in place. I do suspect it'll be another one of those fanning around for a few weeks. Someone will rob our best player and we'll be scrambling around to sign players late in the day, getting quoted extortionate fees. Let's not repeat that. If anyone wants to go now, I think we set a cut-off time of end of June. If you're going to leave the club, end of June is when you've got to leave the club by.
Yeah, I agree. I think Onana's probably going to get sold, I think.
Maybe that's go if as long as it's by the end of June.
Maybe this is why they've given Tom Davies a new contract because you know Onana's going to get sold.
Well, there's no comparable between them two. One's a physical.
No, there's no comparison between the two, apart from the fact that Tom Davies can't score goals and Onana can't score goals.
Well,
look at this. Of course, there's no comparison, but at the end of the day, you do have to have warm bodies on the pitch. And if Onana's going to get sold, and if Andros Townsend is leaving, and if this person does this and this, you still have to have players to be able to even sit the bench for that matter, or have somebody to come off. And so, and that's more scary because if that's going to be Davis, then that means the signings must. You worry that the signings might not be possible, and I know we're basically repeating ourselves, but that's the biggest worry by far.
Chris, have you got anything you want to talk about just before me and Wes do comments and wrap up, or do you want to stay on the phone? Or
no, you guys can go ahead. I just wanted to jump in. Obviously, I haven't seen everybody in a while, and just wanted to say to everyone, thanks for the support. Obviously, I've had a lot of likes and follows on Twitter and things of that nature. So I wanted to thank the chat for all that good stuff and people who've asked about me and all that sort of thing. I hope everyone's doing well. It's an interesting time given that, I mean, it's hard to believe that just a couple weeks ago we were going through actual physical illness, not knowing what the next year was gonna hold. And now all of a sudden, here I am planning to come back and for next season and do that sort of thing. So yeah. Quite frankly, I don't think I'm fully recovered from the past 2 years, but especially this season, because I can't, you guys are there, you're living it. I know how physically and mentally and emotionally drained I actually felt. I can't imagine what you guys are going through. And I still don't think I've come down from that, and I don't know when I will.
Here's a question for you, Chris. For the next 4 or 5 years, would you settle for mid-table mediocrity?
I mean, if there was a plan in place and seeds being planted to possibly be better, of course. But mid-table mediocrity with no progress, no. Because to me, as a supporter of any club, be it Everton or any American sport or any whatever, you want your organization to take steps to be better. And as I said this season, and I'm not pretending like I know that relegation would have helped, but we had a couple of debates on if would you take relegation if it meant getting rid of the backroom staff and possibly having a chance to be a good club again. And I said yes in a heartbeat, because if that's going to be a roll of the dice to actually be a club that's somewhat decent to watch, even if it's in 10, 15 years, I'm all about that. So, no, I don't want to be in that situation by any means. But if finishing 13th through 15th or 17th and just staying in the Premier League to finish 17th every single season for the next 15 years, if you gave me that option, no, I don't want that. I want to actually be a decent football club and compete for trophies and compete for, whatever.
Yeah, even do what West Ham does, because it is pointless. But I suppose for me, even for the next couple of seasons, as long as we're not battling relegation, I'd be quite happy, because
that was kind of my point. Is that would you settle for mid-table mediocrity for 4 or 5 seasons? So do you see some sort of progress over that 4 or 5 seasons?
Wes, let me ask you this, because I'm shocked at the amount of responses I got to this answer, this question that I didn't agree with. Would you take being Leicester City? Would you take being a championship side for a number of years? You come up, you win the league, you win an FA Cup, and then you get relegated, 7 years later, whatever it was. Would you take that if it meant Everton got relegated 7 years from now? Because I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, to be honest, I would. And I think a lot of people are saying they wouldn't. But I suppose it is a humiliating way to go after winning the league and FA Cup.
Yeah, I mean,
you've gotten to experience now almost everything as a supporter that you ever could have wanted. I mean, you didn't win the Champions League. You won the league. You won the FA Cup. As a supporter of let's face it, a smaller club than a lot of others, what else can you expect? That's an amazing sports life, given that some people go 90 years, 80 years supporting a club that never wins anything, and Leicester do this. I would take that in a heartbeat, even if it meant relegation.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but what I'm afraid of, and most Evertonians, it's a case of rinse and repeat season after season, and that's what we don't want.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if we get 14th, 13th, 12th, and you can see some sort of structure to the club over that 4 or 5 seasons. Yeah, we might be mid-table for 4 or 5 seasons, but if you can see genuine progress and structure being built and a plan in place to get us back to where we hopefully we should be, then yeah, I'd say 4 or 5 seasons of that.
No, I completely agree. I get where you're coming from. My service is about to go, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Thanks to everyone again for the support, and thanks. Do me a favor, at Real Domino Chris. You can find that, and I will chat with you guys all very, very soon. Peace and love, everybody.
See you soon, Chris. There he goes.
Bless him. We had some people kicking off, going, "Where's Chris? Is he left? There must be drama." No, there was no drama. People have got their own lives, and really they're all contributing to the oil of making the channel work. And I do hope Chris will be back soon once he's finished his mission, and we'll be back leading the show as we've come to enjoy. So I wish him the best, and I hope he'll be back properly soon. So Wes, I think we've talked about pretty much everything. We've talked about Davies's contract and Coleman as well. We've tried to be a bit balanced, but given some points. I think the Coleman one, I'm assuming we haven't got the money for another right back, and it probably makes sense. Let's have a quick look at the comments before we wrap things up here. The Blues are saying the financial year ends around July 10th, so I doubt we'll be spending any money at all before then. That's interesting.
Don't the you have to declare your books at the end of this month, the end of June.
Changed their financial year, didn't they? It's normally April 6th, but
yeah. So
here
apparently, do you reckon that we're going to be in profit?
Just interesting. The Blues are saying exactly why we weren't spending the money on Cody, a new 6 choice midfielder. Just on the books thing, if we put pure profit in this window and buy after the 15th, then we can still, when we can lower the losses and have new losses in following years, if that makes sense. I think it could work. Xavi's saying we should go for Rodrigo for 4 million and Weghorst on loan. But that's not been too popular in the comments. Ashley Barnes, another player that's been mentioned, but I think, when you start looking at relegated players and putting them in other poor teams, is it just going to be repeating?
Weghorst is a bad idea. We haven't got goal scorers at the minute, and he's not a goal scorer.
No, they're saying he's good in the air. TJ Mid saying he would take Weghorst. And Ashley Barnes would do a good job. Eugene's asking, Dave, would you take Harry Maguire?
He's better than Michael Keane. That's all I can say on that. That's all I'm going to say on that. He's a better defender than Michael Keane.
Stu was saying this next season is going to be, I think he's similar to Keane. Next season is going to be seriously definitive. With new players coming in, they're going to need a season or two to get up and running and settle. I don't think we've got that, Stu. TJ Mid is saying no to Maguire. Peter's saying if we stick with Dyche, we'll get relegated with this group. Well, we hope, Peter, that we will make some signings and prevent that, because I expect we'll go down next season. I think Luton will go down, and I think it will be absolutely Luton will go, and there'll be
this is my worry. This is my worry about Dyche, though, because obviously he likes Michael Keane, and is he going to keep hold of him out of stubbornness when everybody knows he's not good enough, and he's been at the club for about 5 years too long.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was leaving in January to Southampton, but we said no because we were in competition with them at the time. Neil saying we'll never be at the top end unless we get Saudi money. Al saying why keep Stanley? We've got Stanley Mills. Why keep Davis? I don't know whether Stanley's that highly rated, and I think they're different positions. Dave,
he's a right back, and he's Stanley Mills.
I think he's a right winger.
Is he? I thought he was a right back. So like nobody seems to know, do they? Dave, back maybe.
Thanks for joining, Dave, and everyone watching. Much appreciated. So that's the release and retain list. I think what I want to see over the next few weeks, the seeds planted. Left back, a starting left back, please. Someone who
we want to see this investment done.
Yeah,
that's what we need to see. I think new board members.
But just without getting distracted in terms of transfers, Wes, at least one striker you'd want a number 9, regardless of what Calvert-Lewin does. He can still have an impact, Calvert-Lewin, off the bench.
This is the thing. I was chatting with my mate today. We were talking about Calvert-Lewin, and he's gone to see a specialist in Germany and whatnot. Now, there's only 2 months before the season starts again, right? So what difference is it going to make him having this 2 months off and the 2 months he spent off since he played against Arsenal and came back?
For me, I think we would be naive to put any eggs in his basket. I think he's lost cause. I think we should go and sign a number 9. That's where the priority's got to be. If Calvert-Lewin comes back, he can play alongside this new player or instead of or on the bench. But I think we need a starting number 9. I don't think we can rely on Calvert-Lewin. He's got 7 goals in 2 years. He's played like 20 games. It's not good enough. We also need another striker, but who can also play on the left or right, a bit like a Richarlison. And so if all the other strikers are fit, he could maybe play left wing or right wing, this guy.
And then I think at left back, a centre half and a centre. So we need players. We need players. There's probably not one position we can't strengthen, but really, I think we have to prioritise centre forward, because last season, if we'd have had at least one capable striker who got 8 to 10 goals, I think we would have been safe.
We need a
back
proper
to-
number 10, right? We need a proper number 10.
We need everyone. Let's get this wrapped up, Wes. I'll catch you soon, and thank you to everyone watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Like and
Dave.
subscribe. Take it easy, Ray.
Take it easy, Dave. Have a good weekend, mate.
And you, mate. See
And
you soon,
everyone else
man.
watching. See you later.
Ta-ra.
Bye.